All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the Seattle Seahawks late night, well, at least for me here. Folks, I'm amped up about Mike Macdonald entering season number 2 as the official head coach for the Seattle Seahawks. But before we get into it, because I kind of want to talk about new acquires, I want to talk about news, I want to talk about rumors, and I want to most specifically talk about the draft because the Seattle Seahawks don't have too much cap space this offseason, and they didn't make the playoffs last year. But they're like the most undercover 10-7 team that I've ever seen. And I know that we just switched to 17-game seasons in the last 5 or so years, but the Seattle Seahawks were on the cusp of making the playoffs under first-year head coach Mike Macdonald, and they just deserve more love, but they don't have much cap space. And so a lot is going to come down to roster cuts, how they spend that money in free agency, and most importantly, in every sporting league, the NFL draft or the draft. But the Seahawks currently are in like this weird middle tier of the National Football League where they're competitive enough for a playoff spot, but you're not really going with championship aspirations, right? Geno Smith's currently entering the final year of his contract. I wouldn't be surprised if some sort of extension came to fruition in this offseason, but I do want to talk about the future because I'll actually just spoil. The future would be Jackson Dart, and that's what we're going to talk about in a couple of minutes here. But Geno Smith, final year of his contract, he gives you stability, all right? And even just keeping in the same division, what we saw from Brock Purdy 2 years ago, making it to the Super Bowl, yeah, I just really don't love the Geno Smith slander. I know he is getting up there in age, though. His age, his performance, 15 interceptions this past season, it's still time to look to the future. And every single Seahawks fan, I'm sure, agrees with that sentiment, all right? But beyond the quarterback position, the Seahawks have two main issues, all right? They need a consistent pass rush, and honestly, their defensive line is very good, but I think they're going to make it even better this upcoming offseason. And more importantly, they really need to figure out and strengthen this offensive line. But they also have 8 total draft picks at their disposal, and they're going to have plenty of opportunities, like we just said, free agency, trades, the draft, to identify, or at least I should say, address these key issues that they clearly have. And so I did just want to kind of float this out there because it's February 20th, so pretty much most of what we're talking about is speculation and rumors. I saw a Bleacher Report article, and they were saying to go out there and make a trade for offensive tackle Jack Conklin with the Cleveland Browns. And my first thought process was, all right, well, Abraham Lucas is the right tackle, and the dude's a stud. The issue is Abraham Lucas is never healthy, or at least he's never reliably healthy. So I think it would be interesting because I just read a Seahawks article saying, could they just move him to right guard? Like, could the Seahawks just move Abraham Lucas to right guard and then go out there and get Jack Conklin, who would be your right tackle? But end of the day, the Seahawks have the second to worst, third worst, fourth worst, depending on what metric you're using, offensive line in general. The team was bottom 4 in both yards before contact and pressure rate allowed. They also ranked 29th in cap dollars allocated to the offensive line and have spent one top 50 pick on the offensive line in the last 8 years. And honestly, I don't even really think that's going to change this season. So that's where a guy like Jack Conklin comes in. He's carrying a $14 million salary into this upcoming season. And I think whether it's the Seahawks or other teams in the National Football League, I think people are going to be looking at him via trade, especially if you're in a not so cap friendly situation, because he's consistently good. He's not great. He's not consistently great. He's consistently good. So I wanted to throw that out there. And I also wanted to mention some other interior offensive linemen that I do think the Seahawks will at least look into would be Alex Kappa and Joe Thuney. All right. But here's the meat and potatoes of this video. And this is what has me amped up. And I got to give all props to Josh Leiskiewicz with PFF, because he's doing, or I think PFF's doing a whole 7-round mock draft for every NFL team. And I caught the Seahawks one, and this one, I don't know, man, it's February 20th, but this one actually got me excited. All right. And we're going to go through 2 first-round picks. So the Seattle Seahawks have the 18th pick in this year's NFL draft. In Josh's mock, he had Jackson Dart out of Mississippi, pick number 18 to the Seattle Seahawks. And I think this is perfect in the sense of Geno Smith has 1 year left on his contract, right? Geno, no matter what happens in the draft, what happens in free agency, Geno Smith, as Kubiak and Mike Macdonald both reiterated 1 week ago in their pressers, Geno Smith is the dude. He's QB1. But like we say, he's getting up there in age, right? He's already getting to 35 around the start of next season. So it's not dire. But the point is, Jackson Dart in this case would be your future. He was so good on like middle throws, intermediate throws, which would be 10 to 19 yards downfield. He earned the nation's highest passer grade at 94.2 and the second best NFL passer rating at 133.8 in 2024. So he just attacks the middle of the field. He's just good in all levels. Honestly, I think Jackson Dart, you're kind of seeing him right now early second round in mock drafts. I guarantee you, and I'm not an NFL scout, but I guarantee you, just knowing how the NFL works, that Jackson Dart will be a round one quarterback. But the point just is, you look at Michael Penix, right? Michael Penix was the 8th overall pick last year. The Falcons got clowned so much because they just forked over a bunch of money to Captain Kirk Cousins, but they also drafted a quarterback in the top 10 in Michael Penix. Well, now their quarterback position is set, even though Kirk Cousins didn't work out. So I like the idea of, if you know who the dude is, if you want Jackson Dart, you go out there and you get him. You get him in the first round. Maybe you have to, overpay him in the sense of overdraft him if he's projected late first, early second, whatever. But if he's available at 18 and you like Jackson Dart, I think the Seahawks would be down to do that. Now, on the contrary, if you're not really feeling the quarterback at that first round, because first round is a big deal, Mike Green out of Marshall, he just had a phenomenal season at Marshall. He's just continued. He had a great Senior Bowl. He looks like an NFL player, and the sky's truly the limit if he were to land in Seattle with Mike Macdonald. But then even just to get a little bit deeper real quick, because we're running out of time here, this mock draft had at pick number 50 in the second round, Jordan Birch out of Oregon. I absolutely love it. We talked about the edge rushers early on in this video. Round 3, pick 82, Barrett Carter out of Clemson. Round 4, Luke Kandra out of Cincinnati. And then that's a guard, by the way, which is a positional need. And then this one really kind of caught my eye because this was a 7th rounder. Drew Kendall out of Boston College. He surrendered just 1 sack and 2 quarterback hits in each of his past 2 seasons at Boston College. And my point is, I'm assuming Olu would be your slated center for next season, but I don't know how Seahawks fans feel about that, all right? Because we just saw a little bit of it this past season. Folks, that's all I have for tonight. I got to go watch this USA-Canada hockey game. Go USA. Thank you for watching. Hit that like button, hit that sub button. But folks, most importantly, let me know down below. Do you want the Seahawks to draft Jackson Dart, or who would your alternative future quarterback pick be? Let me know down below. Thank you for watching. Peace.